90.7 KPFK, Los Angeles.
Russia, if you're listening.
Talk show, random, political, outrageous, philosophical, analytical, passionate, sunsets, roadkill cooking tips, open-minded, swordsman, bent, resolute, chocolate, bushwhacker, belt buckles, investigative, companion, fearless. Call in. Piercing the cloud of mainstream entertainment. It's the Cary Harrison Files.
And it is the Cary Harrison Files. Welcome. Glad to have you here aboard. We may be opening up the phones a little later just to let you decompress. I have to tell you, I am so beside myself. There are barely words. And here I thought it was just me. I've been covering stuff for, I don't know how many years on different networks, different channels, different this, different that. And I've always been able to handle it. Just try to observe it, objectively anyway. It doesn't mean I like it. I might hate it, but at least, it didn't make me not sleep or throw up. And I have to tell you, I am just fit to be tied. And here I thought it was just me. Something's wrong with me. I'm too sensitive. That's the problem. I'm just overly sensitive. Well, it turns out so are you. Man, millions of us. Millions, as he would say. My God. We also, who showed up a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, incredible, all over the country. Call to action. I know there are organizations putting things together. When you do, let me know. And we'll read them on the air every week. Where it is, where it's happening. When we take calls, you've been asking for that. Let us know. I will let you know. I just need to have a list of what it is. I can't figure it out or intuit it. If you're planning a little something on the corner, if I don't know about it, I can't talk about it. So please feel free to share that. You can go to caryharrison.com, shoot me an email. You can send a text at 310-737-TALK, 310-737-TALK, 310-737-TALK. And let us know, and we'll find a way to work that in, okay? Coming up shortly, if all goes well, we're going to talk to a couple of women because DEI is, in fact, women. I know you're checking a box with you in it. Sure, you're in it. But the first thing to go every single time is women. They roll it around trans, they build it around this, around that, but it's always to make women vanish. Number one, then everyone else follows. What is the threat of women? I don't really understand that, but maybe we're going to learn a little something. Let me just point out that we're streaming right now. If you like video, if you like to be able to drive and show up and not have to turn off the physical radio in your dashboard, I know. Woo! What frequency are we on, Mildred? If you want to show up and just keep listening, you could do that. We're streaming right now on Substack and YouTube. You can simply Google Cary Harrison Substack or YouTube, and we can stay connected when you arrive at your destination. You can also just go to kpfk.net, N-E-T, kpfk.net, and there it is. You'll get the video stream. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at caryharrison.com. There you're going to get a transcript of this entire show, plus access to clips and stuff that we cannot do on the radio, especially now. And that's our newsletter at caryharrison.com. Well, in these times when DEI has removed women from the federal lexicon, we can celebrate 50% of the human race. Without them, you wouldn't have been born. I wouldn't have been born. And if the people of Earth had been raised by men only, we might all still be walking on our knuckles. That's at least if we look up to the leadership right now. I think that's a reasonable conclusion. So today is going to be the show where ambition goes to therapy, where burnout gets a name tag, and where we ask the uncomfortable questions that HR would rather we didn't. We're not going to speak with just any corporate consultants. Nope. We've got two women here who didn't just survive the system, they rewired it while it was still plugged in. Roquita Coleman-Williams and Sherika Himes are entrepreneurs, executive coaches, and founders of something called the Total Woman Summit. Sounds serene, right? Like a wellness retreat with cucumber water and someone whispering, "You're enough," in the background. This summit is a full-blown intervention. equal parts healing circle and corporate exorcism. These two have made it their business, literally, to help women lead without immolating themselves in the name of success. It's career growth, mental health, and self-care all tangled up in real-world strategies, not platitudes on a Pinterest board. And they're not just whispering into the void. Their client list includes Nike, St. Jude, the city of Memphis. In short, they've been hired to tell the truth to people who usually pay good money not to hear the truth. Women, once again. This is important because everything is male-centric right now. Everything is the patriarchy, and we're all focused and bowing and bending a knee, and yet 50% of humankind is actually out there arranging and making stuff happen. And, federally, they simply unexist. Just like the Enola Gay airplane that dropped the H-bomb or the A-bomb unexist, just like whoever you are, you probably unexist. Roquita and Sherika both face the kind of adversity most leadership books politely skip over. And we're talking about single motherhood. We're talking about surviving sexual violence, the real stuff that millions of us deal with, but often dare not speak about. And these two aren't your average LinkedIn influencers either with, inspirational quotes over stock photos. They've proved that it's possible to climb the ladder without using your own spine as a rung. Okay, that translates into regular living too, doesn't it? They've raised over $100,000 for women and girls initiatives. They've created safe spaces where ambition and anxiety can hold hands. And they're showing companies that wellness isn't just a line item. It's the whole damn budget. So let me introduce Roquita Coleman-Williams. I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Cary. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. In a world that is selling burnout as a badge of honor, how would you convince high-achieving women, and there are lots, we're just not allowed to talk about them until right now, that the rest isn't laziness, it's actually rebellion?
Well, first off, let me send my regards for Sherika. We are very impactful with our clients, and our clients are always first for us. So even when we have amazing opportunities like this, sometimes we have to do a divide and conquer. So Sherika is supporting clients today and sends her regards. To answer your question, I would say I have to speak first from my own experience. I was winning considerably in a system that was quietly breaking me. I was winning in a space that regarded high performance, to your point, as a badge of honor. Delivering results were always the most important thing. And in fact, there were times in my career, I can now say I'm 30 years in, I'm a GG. I have my little GG necklace on this morning as a way to acknowledge the fact that I've gone through a full range of life. So don't let the youthful look confuse you. But when I was younger in my career, I defined my value to the organization based on that level of productivity. So I was winning in that system, delivering results, leading billion-dollar portfolios in rooms where often I was either the only woman or the only Black woman. But I found at some point that pace was relentless, and the silence around me is what really inspired the work that we do today. I think the silence around the burnout was even louder than the performance that was being delivered.
Roquita Coleman-Williams, yesterday I was making sex kits with condoms. Let me just explain what that is. It sounds like, pervert. No. We're going back to the 1990s in many ways. I was in the state of Florida, which is what the rest of the country will look like within a year. So it's already happened here. Nobody has rights. Books are banned. Free speech is gone. Medical care is gone for anything that checks a box called DEI. That's women. That's people of color. Gone. So here we are taking condoms and putting them in little bags with some lube and some of this and some of that to hand out on the sidewalk because PrEP and other medical anti-HIV meds no longer are available. So we're back to living like 20 years ago. And the point of me saying this is the room. Who was actually filling these little envelopes other than me and a couple of other people? It was 90% Black women swept in, making the solution. And I saw that and I thought, I've been seeing this for years, but it never clicked to me. So let's talk a little bit about, a group of people that has always shown up and knows how to show up and sees the problem and identifies it and actually tackles it.
Well, the thing that you're mentioning is that something that most women know well, and I have to admit, I don't believe, nor has my experience shown me that this is specific to Black women or women of color. Most women are thriving it's not born out of strategy. So what you're seeing, the output you're seeing, is not something born out of strategy. It was born out of survival. And the same thing that allows us to survive in corporate spaces is the same survival instincts that kick in when, 17-year-old Roquita or 15-year-old, 16-year-old Sharika become mothers. And it's that same survival instinct that says, hey, we have to get out here and create spaces unapologetically and refuel without apology, and also do the things that we need to do today to ensure other Roquitas and other Sharikas don't land in the same positions that we found ourselves over the years.
A shout out to Nancy, who just, I think, is watching us on YouTube or Substack. Hello back. People say hello. I'm just letting you know we see you too. Roquita Coleman-Williams, let's talk a little bit about, you just touched on a great nerve here, that you've been through a lot, therefore you now know a lot, and therefore you're now able to do a lot. Let's talk for a second about what you went through so that it gives us a sense of, okay, it's like a credibility wall behind someone on CNN. Dr. So-and-so, you put books behind him. Okay, now I'm going to listen. Look, a stethoscope. Now I'm really going to listen. Your stethoscope moment here.
Yeah. My origin story is not much different than many origin stories for people in the South, especially in the Memphis market. I was born in 1977. I will definitely share my age, because I'm quite proud of that. To a household that was generating not more than $15,000 a year, and most of that being entitlement. Therefore, in our city, in the zip code in which I was raised, my economic development or economic mobility, percentage of economic mobility was less than 20%. And that's just to reach not impoverished. So I think the threshold they looked at a couple years ago was $50,000 a year. That was, hey, you're no longer in the impoverished range. Well, we can say I've put a couple kids through private school. I have a son in Canada today who has an MBA, so we can just go ahead and infer that I've done a little bit better than that number. But it was not easy to do that. I can say the biggest pivot from impoverishment, dependent on entitlement, becoming a teenage mother, was education and access to education. But it was also intervention. And a lot of times intervention from all the women in the community, and women who often did not look like me, who were making a significant investment. So I learned early on to understand the connection between high net worth women who were intentionally investing into outcomes for women. And that was really early on. So I knew I had a responsibility at some point in my career to not only figure out how to continue to have corporate success, but to also have intentionality around investing into community. But of course, it wasn't that, the lines weren't that clean. When Sharika and I partnered, I was at my lowest in terms of overall wellness. In fact, I had my best year in corporate America for a global organization, managing a team of people who were having exceptional outcomes and building business results that were exceptional. However, I later learned that during that time, I had had a massive stroke and did not know that I had a stroke. And so I needed to understand, how did that happen? How does an individual who cherishes wellness, who lives wellness, who operates at the highest level, and who understands what feeling out of balance and unbalanced looks like, how does that happen? And you have this significant medical event while still performing in your role. And that's really the space in which the Total Woman Summit And that partnership grew. I met Sharika. She was already doing this work. She was already invested in this work. And I said, I needed it for myself. So I needed to teach, but also learn as I was teaching. And that's what the Total Woman Summit and later on the Total Haven Retreat, which we hold every year for executive women in leadership, it was born out of that.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? Well, you call low-cost airlines because they specialize in cheap flights, in discount hotel rooms, in cheap car rentals, and with the best price guarantee. Often 75% off. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers. Most importantly, a continuous glucose monitor allows you to fully take charge of your health. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you take insulin, you may qualify for a CGM today. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances cover continuous glucose monitors. So don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call VeraMed Health now.
Call 855-996-9708, 855-996-9708. Call 855-996-9708. Call now.
Roquita Coleman-Williams, good to see you again. I was going to jump into finding out how you measure success in a world that only tracks revenue, not resilience.
Gosh, first off, I have to admit that one of the ways in which we measure success is, or I personally measure success, in the joy of my family. I have an amazing husband who's recently retired as a Memphis police officer. He's done his service to our community. I have two boys, one 30 years old and one 12. And I have a 3-year-old grandson. I'm a Gigi. And the joy of my presence with them, being fully in the moment and knowing that I've invested in a healthy person today so that Gigi's here 20 years from now, that's how I measure success. Now, I have to admit, revenue helps with that. So health in this space, wellness in this space can be very expensive. It is an investment. It is not easy, and it really hurts my feelings when I hear people minimize the cost of wellness. It costs us to put time. It costs us in time. That means that some things, in order for us to invest in our wellness, means that we're going to have to take spaces of time from other spaces that are also high priority and important to us. It costs us in income. It's expensive. It's expensive to get body work done. It's expensive to eat the right foods all the time. As I've grown
You're talking about body work, both the car and the physical body.
the physical, the car and the physical body.
Let's just be honest.
Especially the physical body. One of the things that I do for myself is I have Thai massage once a week to help move the stress and energy out of my body. When it accumulates, I can't think straight. My brain goes cloud, right? And so those things are investments that we have to make. And so being able to measure success about my access to those things, that's a measure of success. My ability to afford those things, gosh darn it, that is a measure of success. But really, I measure success, and in the Total Woman Summit and the Haven Retreat, we measure success in the joy that we bring that is unrelated to our outcomes in the workforce.
Well, what a great way to end. I'm very grateful that you were here today. It's important that we hear voices that have been removed. We can all pretend that we haven't been removed, but we've been removed. So unremoving us and letting us know that we're here to thrive and that we can do something and make a difference is an important touchstone to a happy future. And I want to thank you for joining us today, Roquita Coleman-Williams.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. She's one of the women who's turned her wreckage into professional revolution. one of the minds behind the Total Woman Summit. So just know hundreds of millions of women out there doing stuff, even though they've been told to shut up, go back in the kitchen. Just like if you've been told to do that. This is your turn. It's your life. You get one of them. You own it. Take it.